Hello, all Hoosier fans, Hoosier haters, and everyone in between. This is the Crimson Coliseum podcast, and on this second episode of the day, I'm going to be going into the predicting the Big Ten season, the Big Ten not season, the Big Ten schedule essentially this week. Um, so just to go into it, there are 15 games to talk about. Two teams on byes, UCLA and Purdue have early byes, which I feel sorry for Purdue. Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense for Purdue to have a bye because they have Notre Dame next. For UCLA, I don't know. Well, they're coming from Hawaii, so that makes sense. Yeah, so UCLA is coming from Hawaii. Purdue is facing Notre Dame. I get why they're on bias right now. But to start out on Friday, to start everything out, Friday, you got Indiana versus Western Illinois. IU's 1-0, Western Illinois is 0-1, 7 p.m. Eastern. Indiana. It should be a blowout win. Flat out. Indiana should take care of business here and go into the next one. Going to get ready for UCLA. But you can't keep them waiting. Well, no, you can't overlook them obviously because they're an opponent. Anyone could beat anyone in the college football. But I think Indiana's going to win this easily, and I think we're going to see a lot of players get their first snaps with the team. After that, at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have Northwestern hosting Duke. And Northwestern's favored by 2.5 points, but I think Duke's going to win this game. Wasn't impressed offensively from Northwestern. Not really. They they struggled against the Miami of Ohio team, and their defense is good. I like their defense. It's just offensively, I don't think it's going to be there yet. I think Duke's going to get the upset on the road. Michigan, number 10, Michigan. Well, moving on to Saturday, the noon kickoffs. Michigan versus Texas, the 10th ranked team versus the third ranked team. Michigan is a 7.5 point favorite. This is Texas. And Darren's gonna like this, Dr. Gales is gonna like this, but Texas should win this easily. Like Michigan's Michigan's the home squad, but Ann Arbor may be rocking. And Michigan probably covers. But it's Texas. Quinn Ewers is gonna light up this dude and light him up. Granted, I do like Michigan's defense. I do. I think they're going to be a scare. I think they're better than I expected. They were better than I expected defensively. I just, I really am not a big fan of the two quarterback offense. Wasn't a fan when we tried to do it. Not a fan with how Michigan's doing it. I think you got to get one quarterback, and if you don't feel comfortable with that, I don't know what to tell you. Um, Penn State versus Bowling Green. Number 8, Penn State should get this win easily. Another one where it's just a cupcake opponent. Minnesota, the only Big Ten team to lose last week, looking to bounce back against Rhode Island. I think they do. I don't know what happened with Minnesota there. Close game against North Carolina, but you gotta win those. You just have to. Flat out, you gotta win those. A close game at home. What was it at home? I might be going crazy. North Carolina's solid, but I gotta make sure I am right on that because I don't want to be wrong and be made fun of for it. Uh, Where is it? Big Ten, week one. Uh, No, yeah, they were at home. They were at home. Yeah, you get 2 point game at home. You got to win that. But I think they get this win over Rhode Island, another FCS opponent. Gotta win. You gotta win these. Bounce back. Rutgers versus Akron. Akron, after getting utterly decimated in Columbus, gets to go to New Jersey to Rutgers, and Rutgers wins this one pretty easily too. Rutgers has a very easy schedule. I think they're going to win this one. And then going into 3:30, the Battle of the Cyhawk. I think Iowa gets this win here. Iowa State could be a team that can help propel Iowa to the CFP if they do good enough during the regular season. That's one thing we mentioned. But I'm not sold on their offense just yet. I know everyone's like, "Oh no, Iowa's an offense." Calm down for like 5 seconds. It was against an FCS team. Offenses against the FCS teams are really good too. Um, I think Iowa still wins this. I think it's going to be like a 20 to whatever an Iowa game, take the under. Just that's just from what I've learned. Take the under whenever it's an Iowa game. You always take the under there. I think they nearly hit the under too. Granted, their defense was great. I like Iowa's defense a lot too. Maryland versus Michigan State. Moving on real quick. The first Big Ten matchup of the entire year. At home, I'm giving it to the Terrapins. Their offense went absolutely nuts against UConn. And granted, it's UConn. We can't really put too much thought into that. But this is the first big test for both squads, and Maryland should win this pretty easily. Maryland, not pretty easily. I wouldn't say that. Maryland's going to win this game. Washington versus Eastern Michigan next. Washington. End of story there. Wisconsin versus South Dakota. Wisconsin. Yes. Um, Illinois versus the number 19th ranked Kansas. I think Kansas goes into Champaign and beats them. This was probably whenever it was scheduled. This was a game that both teams were probably going to be in the same like area going into the game. But it kind of like what IU whenever they scheduled Cincinnati those two times. It's kind of like that feel, but Kansas is a lot better now. And at the 7:30 mark, you got Ohio State versus Western Michigan. Got Ohio State winning that. Nebraska, Colorado. Granted, this is different from where I had it. And granted, this is probably not going to happen. Probably this should in relatively be a Nebraska win. But something tells me deep in my soul, and maybe it's the Deion Sanders inside of me that everyone has, but Colorado, Travis Hunter's going to make a play defensively that's going to change the game or win Colorado the game. My prediction. And then it feels so weird to say this. Big Ten after dark play. Oregon versus Boise State. And this just might be a reactionary thing. This is probably not going to happen. Oregon should win this. They're the third ranked team in the country. They should win this. But you got Cam Camper, IU legend, on the other side, who had nearly 100 yards receiving. After how bad Oregon played against Idaho, which Idaho's a pretty good FCS team. But even Tom Allen's Indiana squad absolutely demolished them both times they were in Bloomington. I've got Boise State and the Blue Crew winning. Would they be considered the Blue Crew? I think they're the Mustangs, but because they have the blue field and everything. And then USC, Utah State. I think the 13th ranked Trojans beat Utah State pretty easily. This should be a USC win. So overall, even with two buys in UCLA and Purdue, the Big Ten will go 10-6 in today, starting this week. Um, Granted, this could be very wrong. This could be very, very wrong, but it could be that probably what's probably going to happen is Oregon will win, Nebraska will win, maybe Northwestern wins. Those are probably the three that I could see changing because I don't see Michigan beating Texas. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's all from this. This whole episode I'm doing is inspired by Tom Grossi and his prediction show. I think probably next year, maybe even next week, I don't know, depending on how I feel about it. I might do Big Ten power rankings. I might honestly wait till Big Ten season officially starts in week 4, week 3, week 4, week 3. Yeah, after week 3. going into week 4, but this will know more about each team because it's very hard to tell based off one week. And I might do it based on tiers instead of rankings. But yeah, that's all for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, share it on both platforms, and have a great weekend and go Hoosiers.